Schnibbelt.
Hello and welcome to this week's Draw and Talk. This week I'm animating hands. Yeah, I hope you enjoy that. It was a lot of fun to do. If you're looking to practice animating or drawing hands, you definitely could use your own for reference, because that's what I did throughout this whole video. I was using my own hands for reference at parts. In, like specific poses, I had my hand there to help me. And I recommend doing it if you're thinking of practicing the act of drawing or animating hands. Just reference your own if you can. So this week was Christmas for those who celebrate that, but if you don't, there's always other holidays. I'd be happy to listen to anything about any of them, however you celebrated. As for us, surprisingly, on Christmas Eve is the day I woke up to the Christmas tree being up, and I did not expect that. I didn't think we were going to be doing anything with decorations or anything at all this year. But I was very delighted to see it, because I think I mentioned this last week, how I love Christmas decorations, so that was nice to wake up to, though I wished that I could have helped put the tree up, because I like to do that, but I wasn't awake for it, which is unfortunate. But yeah, so we ended up doing a little Christmas. On Christmas Day, I got a new sketchbook, which is funny because since I basically finished my old sketchbook that lasted me 2 years, or actually 3 I think, I had 2 new sketchbooks because I was like, well, I'm finishing this one, so I'll get a new one, and then I ended up getting 2, and then for Christmas I get a 3rd one, so I'm like, I won't need any more sketchbooks for a while. I should probably start filling those up now that I think about it. I've only drawn a few things in one of them, so I should probably do that. But anyway, so for Christmas, we all went to the theater. Okay, so apparently the website for our theater was listing Christmas as open, and I had never heard of the theater being open on Christmas, so I was like, I feel like the website is incompetent enough to have this be a mistake, because our town just recently got this new theater this past year, and the website just looks so not good. And I just assumed that it was some sort of error that it had Christmas Day open for the theater, because I've never heard of people going to watch a movie on Christmas. I never knew that this was a thing. So we went to the theater, and to my ultimate surprise, it was open and pretty crowded because I've only gone to this theater a handful of times. As I said, it's new, and each time I've gone, it's never been all that crowded, but on Christmas Day there was more people than I'd ever seen there before, so it was cool. As you may have guessed, because I was freaking out about it last week, I did see Spiderman again. So that makes 3 times I've seen it in the theater, and no lie, I might go see it again soon, because it's just so good and I love it so much. It's just a great movie. If you haven't seen it yet, please go see it. Oh, this all reminds me, you know how I sprained my foot on my second watching when I was walking down and it's the last step and I sprained my foot? So my foot still hurts, and through the beginning of this week, because I sprained it last Wednesday, and I assumed it would take 2 weeks to heal, and so far it's looking like that's probably the case, because again, it still hurts and it still has a bruise. Earlier this week, it was just the normal sprain stuff. I didn't even think it would bruise. I just figured it would be in pain and kind of swollen, I guess. But I woke up one day and I looked down at my foot and I was like, is my foot dirty or something? Because I looked down and the whole top of my foot was a giant bruise, and the side of my foot had a bruise, and it's just what? It was so surprising to me. I even rubbed it to just in case to see if it was dirt, and it wasn't, and I was like, wow. This bruise is huge. It's much more faded now, but it was just very baffling to see and everything. Oh, so I forgot to mention, when I went to see Spider-Man the 3rd time on Christmas Day, when I was walking out of our theater room, I was going into the hallway, and some little kid was walking up to me as he was putting his coat on, and I was thinking, is this kid coming to me? What are you doing? What do you want? And the kid came up to me and he was like, was Spider-Man awesome? And it was so cute, but me being so dumb, I took a second. Oh, is this kid really talking to me? Because I guess the only other person around was my sister, who was behind me. So I just was like, I guess this kid's talking to me. So I took a second, but then I was like, yeah, super awesome. And then I walked away because, you know, I was on my way out. But it was, that honestly made my day. Like, it was very pure and just great. So I've never actually, I guess, been out of the house on Christmas Day before. So when we were driving through our town, which is a very small town, by the way, which has like very, very few places like to go in it. We were driving through our town at like 6 p.m. in winter, so it's kind of dark, and all the businesses were closed, and a lot of lights were not on that usually would be on. So we were driving, and it felt so empty. It was kind of cool, honestly. It was like the town was asleep on Christmas Day. So that was how my holiday went. New Year's is coming up, and probably as usual, I'll be alone, sitting in my room as it hits midnight and just not care. Basically, every year at our house is like, yeah, okay, it's New Year's, I guess. Maybe sometimes we'll, like, gather and be like, Happy New Year, it's New Year's, but nothing big or anything. We just watch the clock turn to 12 and, like, yay, Happy New Year. And then we make, you know, those classic New Year's jokes. And then we leave, because ain't nobody care. Speaking of New Year's, that being next week, which is, you know, worrying to think about, I was thinking about how this year there were a lot of movies that I specifically liked. I loved Spider-Man, but, you know, that's recent. I'm freaking out because I've been thinking about it, like, literally for days. After the first 2 times I saw it, I watched Spider-Man, the 1990s cartoon, like 2 seasons in, and yeah, I've just been feeling very obsessive over it. But anyway, so y'all already know that. But also this year, The Incredibles 2 came out, and I remember when I went to watch it, I was super impressed and I loved it so much. I actually drew a lot of fan art for it now that I think about it, yeah, because I really loved the character named Void, so that was great. Yeah, now that I think about it, I'm like, yeah, that was a good movie. I kind of missed it. And then at the beginning of the year, there was Black Panther, which I was just absolutely in love with. I remember when I went to watch it, I was like, there's literally nothing wrong with this movie. Like, every second I am loving. That was a great movie this year. I can't really think of many other movies this year that I liked. I didn't go see Wreck-It Ralph 2. I heard it was okay. I heard it wasn't as good as the first one, but that's not coming from me, so yeah. A bunch of other movies came out this year that I think were a lot of Marvel movies. I didn't really watch any of them besides Black Panther. I mean, I know I would like them, but I also don't feel like it. Now, X-Men movies, I always go to see. Like, that's tradition. I have to see the X-Men movies. But I think it's because I love the X-Men and not the Avengers. The X-Men are just I love them so much more than I like the Avengers. Probably because I grew up with the X-Men cartoons, so I just have more history of knowing who they are and liking them. That's probably the same for Spider-Man as well, where it's like I grew up with the old Spider-Man cartoon and the old Spider-Man movies. It's just those are more my things than the Avengers. Also, it kind of helps that I really don't like most of the Avengers characters. I think my favorite is probably Bruce Banner / the Hulk. The rest are alright, I guess. I mean, the movies are, you know, good, but I just don't care enough to watch all of these Marvel Avenger movies. And, like, I do love Marvel. Again, I always see X-Men movies, and I love X-Men and Spider-Man, so I don't know. Also, did Wonder Woman come out this year? Because I remember I saw that and loved it. That's literally the only DC movie I've seen in a long time, though. I remember I watched the Batman movie with, you know, the Dark Knight, I think. So, you know, it's a while ago. So that was probably the only DC movie I've seen since The Dark Knight. So that movie was also some stuff I really hated in that movie. If you've seen it, you might know what I'm talking about. There's just, like, one thing that I'm just like, can you not? In that Wonder Woman movie, but the rest I really loved. Well, anyway, so I talked an awful long time about, I guess I talked about my holiday and Marvel. Hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you enjoyed seeing my animating of these hands. I tried throughout the video to slow down when I'm checking it at times, so I hope you liked to see that, like, while I was, you know, doing it. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. See you in 2019. Bye-bye.